Hello, my name is Jacqueline Ashanti, and welcome to my channel. It has been so long. Excuse me. It has been so long since I have actually edited and posted a video, and honestly, I'm a little anxious today. Just forgive me if I have a little stumbling going on. So let's just start with season 1, episode 1. We're gonna discuss boundaries. I'm looking down because I have a little notepad. It says, "Do more of what makes you happy." Oh, sorry if my heater is coming on in the background. That's something you'll hear. It's automatic. It's just trying to keep us, up to par with our temperature. So I decided to do boundaries for episode 1, season 1, because sorry, I keep clearing my throat. Because it's heavy in my heart and on my mind. I hate that I'm coming back with such a serious subject. Like, I don't know. Maybe you'll be feeling it, maybe not. But I know that I'm not the only person in the world that feels this way. You know what I mean? So I just decided, like, let me just go ahead and start the video and really put out there what is on my mind, how I'm feeling, and not really just like shy away from the things that I want to say, because a lot of times I will think so much into posting so many videos. Like, I have so many like ideas and things like that, but I don't post them because I don't know, I don't necessarily feel confident in connecting with people, because I'm talking about real life ish, which I know I'm not the only person that talk about real life ish on YouTube. I don't know, I just don't feel confident in connecting with people, which brings me to the subject that I'm about to discuss right now, in my connection with boundaries. Because lately, not even just in 2023, but more often than I would have liked to experience in my past relationships, it has been a thing of like, I'm thinking it's a connection, but it's not a connection, or it's manipulated to seem like it's a connection, and it's not a connection. And when I say that, like, I want to absolutely recognize my faults and like crossing my own boundaries. We're talking about boundaries. Because if I had have just stuck to my own boundaries or my intuition, then I feel like it's not even about control or power or anything like that, but it's more so about, self-betrayal. You know what I mean? So I've recognized that in relationships, I have found myself inching over boundaries that I have. So, like, let's say, for instance, I say no to something, and then the person is persistent about getting said thing done. And I'm like, okay, well, maybe I should compromise. You know what I mean? But compromising on boundaries and compromising on circumstances are completely different. And I found myself in a position where I have given pretty much up on relationships and dating. And it's because, like, I recognize driving my own self to that cliff, to the precipice of being like, I'm okay with like just chilling and being alone, like by myself, you know what I mean? And it's like, it's hard for me because I love love. I love love so much, and I want to believe in it. However, my past relationships, like the couple of past relationships that I've had, and just like my experiences overall, like it don't even have anything to do with just like, oh, you know, just like being with someone or having a partner. It's one of those things where it's like, even with the relationship with my dad, all the relationships that I have with men are like the relationship I have with my dad. And I get really frustrated and discouraged because I've done so much work spiritually and emotionally and intellectually and just all over the board to heal myself from certain things I've had to deal with. But however, when I moved to LA, it just opened up so much because since I've been here, there's been this back and forth thing like with me and my dad. So it's like he's here, but I don't even like to tell people he's here because it's kind of embarrassing, like being so alone, like being so vulnerable, I just feel like a chicken, like a baby chicken in a room full of vultures. Like, I don't even know how to explain it, but I'm going to say that my dad has not been the man to like really come to my rescue. He hasn't been a good man to me. That's the truth. That's just the bottom line. You know what I mean? So, like, on my birthday, he triggered me because he texted me and I didn't answer, and then he called, but I was in class, so I didn't see the call. However, when I got out of class, he called again, but from a different number, right? We're talking about my dad still. He called again, but from a different number, right? And it was on a vibe like, because I didn't answer the numbers that he were messaging me from, and I knew it was him or calling, and also calling me from, that he would call from a different number to get me to answer. And the thing of it is that my dad has not been consistent in my life. And the last time I spoke with him, or the last time we even had an interaction, it was just bad. You know what I mean? And then it's like, every time I would have an issue or something like that happens, and I say something to him about it, there's no like real accountability. There's no acknowledging of how I feel. There's no apology. He just likes to wait for a long time and then come back. Okay. So that triggered me because that's how relationships have been in the past. And I recently dealt with someone who I met, and I would often block them, but they would be so persistent and tenacious in getting me to answer their texts or their calls. If my phone was on Do Not Disturb, they would try to get through. They would definitely get through. Like, if you're an iPhone user, you know how to get through to Do Not Disturb if the setting is there for you to get through. And would call me from different numbers after I've blocked them. And that has happened, a multitude of times, where it's like me trying to accept a person for what it is and who they are. And it's constantly like, oh no, I'm not like that, right? But so I would block him. Let's get back to the story. So I would block him, and I was blocking him because there was long periods of time where we wouldn't talk. I wouldn't see this person. They weren't consistent in us communicating, blase, blase, right? Um, and that's like a clear sign of like you not being taken serious. And for me, like I was really, really deeply feeling someone before, and though the communication wasn't inconsistent like that, and it was definitely it was a very different relationship, still I have learned to accept a situation for what it is and take the signs, move on, because I really do not like to waste my time. You know what I mean? I really don't like to waste my time. It's one of those things like, if this is not for me, let me just move on. And I really am that person. Like, I'm not going to try to keep holding on to something that's not for me. If I know that I want a relationship, if I know that I want to be married, or I want kids, or whatever the case may have you, I'm not going to hold on to someone who wants the exact opposite, because I have done that before, even in me knowing what that person wanted, and that really hurt me. Like, I hurt myself, you know what I mean? So I really try to be honest with myself and whoever it is I am also dealing with in a situation. So when this person would call me from a different number and ask, well, why do you block me? It's like, I would rather be by myself than to, and have solitude, than to be constantly dealing with someone who only wants to come visit me once a month, once every 2 or 3 months, and you want to just hump, and you want to, like, it's just fun, like it's no real nothing, like that's clearly not relationship material, right? So it's like, oh, well, can you give me another chance after I've clearly said what I want? And then it's this ongoing thing over and over, and I put myself aside so many times when this person would call, and I blocked this person so many times. So basically, in the end, I asked this person about being in a long-term relationship and about their intentions. They gave me a basic excuse about why we weren't a good fit. Still, every time they call, I went. And that is a part of, like, boundaries. But it's also, it can be confusing. And it's just one of those things where it's like, well, I clearly told you what I wanted, so why did you do that? Like I've said, then I go to ask them about long-term. It's just a vicious cycle, you know what I mean? But this time in particular, it has really kind of honestly upset me, because it's just like, I told you that this is not what I wanted. Like, I blocked you over and over and over again, and you literally kept coming back. Like, it feels like, am I crazy? But I know I'm not crazy. Like, I just betrayed myself, and I didn't stick to my boundaries, and honestly, like, I am so embarrassed. So embarrassed. And like, I'm embarrassed because trust issues and intuition is like a double-edged sword. Because trust issues is choosing not to trust other people. But going against your intuition is choosing not to trust yourself. And it's like, if someone, like I said, one thing I've vowed no matter what, is that no matter how crazy it makes me look, or no matter how Alice in Wonderland AF it makes me feel, I will always love love, and I will always like believe in love. Like I won't let circumstances make me bitter. However, I think it's something that I have decided to enjoy from afar. And I think it's weird for me to have such a great heart and constantly not be taken serious. And I'm not even trying to be funny. Like, I'm literally like having to back up out of this because I am not that person that I'm not built for the shenanigans, to say the least. Like, I just have decided, I just feel like one of the best things for me is to just focus on my craft. I don't feel like bitter or anything like that, but I want to be alone. I don't know if that makes any sense. Like, I'm not angry, I'm not upset, I'm not like mad or anything like that. I just want to be alone. Like, and unfortunately, like, I can definitely acknowledge that me wanting to be alone is out of fear. And just fear for so many things. Like, I don't even want to be around my friends for real, to be honest. Like, I don't want to be around nobody. I want to be to myself. I want to be by myself because I feel like I'm in the world by myself a little bit. And it's kind of one of those things where it's like, that's okay. Like, I really hate when people be like, oh, I was born alone, I'm gonna die alone. I feel like I'm an option to everybody. I feel like I'm just like this floating option. I feel like I put myself in that position to be the floating option. And I feel that way about, I feel that way about a lot of people. And I've already had this issue of like minimizing myself in people's lives, dealing with this relationship stuff amongst other things, and just generally feeling like I'm not connecting with anybody in the world makes me feel like maybe I need some time to myself, and maybe I need to focus on myself. But I'm just honestly going to take a step away from dating and relationships, and I think it's best for me to invest more time into myself and do more for myself, in a sense of maybe getting to know who I am. Like, I'm really not sure. Like, I just feel like I really need to spend some alone time. Like, I need to spend like a year or 7 by myself and get to know who I am. And you know, because this whole relationship thing, the whole dating thing is like, even in me knowing how beautiful I am, even in me knowing like what type of person I am, even in me providing a safe space, knowing I'm a safe space for so many people, and all the things and all the perks and, you know, being a giver and, you know, the acts of service and, you know, and I'm not saying that I'm perfect. I know I'm not perfect, okay? However, it's just still being grossly underappreciated for me. And I think that I have given so much that it has made me like shy away and get into my Virgo moon hermit mode and just be on some stuff like, no, like I'm done with this, because I am. Because I really am. Like, I hate to misconstrue the difference. I hate to misconstrue the comparison of walls and boundaries, because I do have walls. Like the dating thing is making me have walls, like, because even in me knowing all the things about me, it is still taking a toll on my self-esteem. It takes a toll on my self-worth. Self-worth and self-esteem are completely different. It takes a toll. It takes a toll when it is constantly a thing of somebody feel like when you're doing the work, right? When you're doing the work and you're learning and you're cleansing and you are on your stuff. You on your stuff. You know what I'm saying? And someone comes along and pretty much manipulates you into thinking that they really want something, that they really have some sustenance, but they are not shit. But they really don't have anything. They are broken. And they have no plans of fixing themselves for you. And when you have worked hard to, you know, get yourself together, and it's this thing of you're good enough for sex, you're good enough for dinner and dates, because this is not just a woman thing. I know that men have issues with this too. We all know that if someone is sexual with you, that don't mean they value you. But even if someone is persistently trying to keep up their relationship with you, does not mean that they value you, because again, my own father has been inconsistent. We have a situationship as father and daughter. We had. And I just ask my mom sometimes, I'm just like, why don't he just get out of my life? And I feel that way. I have felt that way so many times in my life. Because clearly what I want is stressing you out. What I want is too much for you. You cannot meet the standards. And so it's like, why are you here? My standards, my expectations are not going to change. And I feel like neither are the people. I feel like neither are the people. This is not my scenery. I'm not going to stay somewhere where it doesn't fit me. And dating, it's not fitting me. Like, I am legit afraid. Like, I need to just stay to myself. I just, it, I wish that I had have done things differently. I wish that I had have done things differently. I wish that I had have stood up for myself more. And I wish that I would have valued my own time more. So, in conclusion, I don't feel bitter about dating. I don't feel bitter about love. I love love. I will always love love. I just don't know if love loves me back. And I think it's time for me to move on from that, because I legit just am so tired of being in relationships that turn into nothing, that's lessons. Like, I'm truly over being good enough to be poked on, but not good enough to be considered or be taken serious, or, be respected and things like that. There's a difference between, like, it's the thing of being chosen. Like, you know what? This person is beautiful enough to me and is worthy, and it's not even about somebody else determining your worth. We're not gonna even go there. This person is beautiful enough to me, and this person is worthy enough, and I'm gonna choose to do right by them. I'm gonna choose to be there for you and love you and not manipulate you and not take advantage of you and not lie to you and not try to treat you like an object. And, I'm going to respect you, and I'm going to be compassionate towards you. You know what I mean? And I'm going to grow with you. Those type of things are in relationships, and those type of things are in relationships with your family and relationships with your friends, but they are still conditional. So we can pretty much all agree it's very different. It's a very different type of intimacy when it's someone you're laying next to every night. And that's what I mean when I say conditional. Like, I'm not going to go and marry my friends or my parents or, something like that. So with that being said, like, I don't feel like chosen by any of them. And I'm not mad about not feeling chosen by any of them. I need to just, really focus on my craft and leave this dating stuff behind. Like, I think that's what's best for me. My child is going to be 10 this year. We're moving around, living arrangements. So it's like one of those things where I'm just getting okay with maybe being by myself, like I don't want to put that energy out there, but I think that's something that I'm going to, that's where I am right now. I think I should just be by myself and work on my boundaries. And boundaries come in so many other forms. You know, you have boundaries with your time management. You have boundaries with, work. You have boundaries with self-care. You have boundaries with emotions. You have boundaries with, so many things. So many things. Your money, your finances. How many things you take up in a day. How much you work. Your relationship with work. And all those things. So I do plan on getting into that stuff in other videos, because it's all of it I've been dealing with, honestly. And I just really want to work through it. Like, I'm really happy that I didn't cry in this video, but it's because I already had like 3 weeks of crying non-stop. So I think it's all out now. And, if you are also feeling this way, I encourage you to also take time to yourself. I encourage you to go out and do something different and maybe clear your circle. Just clear out the smoke. Even if it's a day to yourself, depending on your circle and your circumstances and how long you can or would like to be alone. And all the guilt that you have, I feel like you should still do it. Even if you feel like people are going to be upset with you or mad or feel like, oh, you're not, being there for me and this, that, and the other, I feel like you should still do it. Because, you only get one you. And there's a difference between self-worth and self-esteem. And if you are questioning your worth in the world, I think it's best to take time to yourself, because that's honestly me right now. Like, that's the space I'm in, questioning my worth in the world. I'm sorry, I keep clicking the pen. You gonna hear it. Sorry, it's my nerves, but that's me right now. Like, I've been questioning my worth in the world, and it's like, is it me or is it them? But it's me in my interactions with them. And people are not going to treat you worse than you treat yourself. And that's something that I like to always keep in mind. And I don't get upset. I'm not upset at the people who, in my past relationships, even in the ones that I know that it's like, I tried to avoid this at all costs, and you still brought it here. Even, with my dad, even with, anybody. I am not upset. I am not angry. I am disappointed. And I really just like to look at, how did I get here? Like, what steps did I take to get here? And maybe you should look into that too. So if you're in a space that you don't want to be in, it's important to say, you hurt my feelings. This hurt me. Like, I'm such an advocate. Even if they never respond, even if they say FUB, even if, they send laughing emojis, whatever the case may have you. I just think it's best to let that person know how you feel and not expect a response. Don't say how you feel for a response, no matter who it is. You just say how you feel and you get it off your chest, so you know that you said how you feel. You want to give yourself that. And you want to acknowledge, even if that person has done you wrong, you still acknowledge it. But you acknowledge it, and then you start to look into self. Okay, so yeah, they did that. But what did I do? What part did I play to end up right here, right now? Because at some point along the line, our intuition speaks to us. The higher ups, the universe, our creator, speaks to us. Our gut speaks to us. And it's just one of those things where you have to accept that you didn't trust yourself in that moment. You betrayed yourself in that moment. Or, every time you're speaking to a person, you're in a conversation, you're choosing to be vulnerable, you're making this constant subconscious decision whether you're going to trust yourself or whether you're going to trust this person. You know what I mean? So it's like, look into the moments that you didn't trust yourself and you should have. And don't be upset about them. Just say, you know what? Next time, I got you, girl. Next time, I got you, my guy. I'm going to trust myself the next time. You know what I mean? I'm going to say how I feel right then and there up front. I'm going to nip it in the bud. And there are a lot of people that are like that. There are also not a lot of people that are like that. For me, I am working on being that person that says it right then and there. And it's important to be blatant, even if you like that person. It's important to be blatant. It's important to be blunt and say what is going on right then and there. You don't sugarcoat it. Don't try to make it cute. You know what I mean? You make it comfortable for you. And that is where trusting yourself starts to build up, because you start to see the signs. You start to figure yourself out. You start to know when to give your time and when to give yourself to other people. And you learn how to carry yourself in the world and where you stand in the world. And the people who love you and know your worth will still be there when you decide to come back from whatever break it is that you need. From whatever it is that you need, they will be there. And they will be waiting, and they will still love you. And your worth will be the same. You won't come back to a BOGO boo. You still the same. You still that same Birkin bag that can afford for them. You get what I'm saying? You still that Birkin bag. They didn't send you to Wally World. They didn't do that. They didn't send you to the $1.25 store. They say, you know what, this Birkin is special. And even though I can't have it today, I'm going to wait on it. Because I love it that much. Like, I hate to objectify you, turn you into a purse. Car. It could be a car. People wait on things they love. You understand what I'm saying? People keep the worth. Like, your worth does not fluctuate in the circumstances. That's the point I'm getting at. That's the conclusion. Your worth does not fluctuate in the circumstances. And that is why it is important to keep your boundaries. And with that being said, I love you all so much. And I'm really happy that I was able to make this video. If you made it this far, thank you so very much for watching. And I do hope that things get better for us all. I know they will. And I hope you the best in all your endeavors, and to see you next week.